The first generation Chevrolet Volt was very impressive and very ahead of its time, but it looked like Star Trooper Long Johns and it could only sit 4 people. The new second generation Volt finally looks like a regular car. It's very modern, very aerodynamic, and it just doesn't look like Darth Vader's condom. Inside, the design follows the latest Chevy trends, and it's well put together. The materials used could have been better to touch, but they do look nice, but just not nice enough for a $39,000 car. The driving position is really good, the seat is very comfortable, and roominess up front is more than enough for even 2 really tall adults. The rear seats, however, despite the increase in legroom, still suffer in terms of headroom. So they're only good for adults up to 5'10" and only on smooth roads, because if things get bumpy, yeah, no good. The trunk is easy to access thanks to the hatch form factor. It's perfectly shaped, but a little small for the class, as at 301 liters, it is just below par. It's powered by a 18.4 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, and charging times vary between 4 and 12 hours. Now, in theory, you can drive up to 85 kilometers on batteries alone. Thankfully, you also get a 1.5-liter gas generator on board that extends the range to 675 kilometers, and that's with using a 33-liter gas tank. That's awesome. Performance is really good for what it is. I mean, you get the 294 pound-feet of torque right from the get-go. So the only discouraging factor in terms of performance is when you start hooning around, the range drops really quickly. The second generation Volt is extremely quiet and very refined even when the gas motor is running. A really cool feature is the regen on demand. You get this paddle shifter behind the wheel that when you press, it activates the regen brakes and it slows you down quite a bit. So if you get used to it, you can pretty much drive with your foot on the gas pedal and your hand on the brakes. Ride comfort is really good. The suspension is soft enough to soak up all road imperfections, and it does so pretty quietly, and in an electric car, that matters. Despite the soft setup and the not independent rear suspension, the Volt actually handles pretty well. I mean, it's very forgiving, it's very fun to drive, and it can actually out-grip those energy saver tires. If 95% of your daily commutes don't exceed 70 kilometers, the Volt is definitely a solution to consider. It might not be the roomiest car for the money, but being able to ride in HOV lanes all by yourself and avoid gas stations just might cut it for you. Oh, and it also has Apple CarPlay.